All right, I hope that you've grabbed your needles and your pattern and your yarn, and you are ready to start our bordered square. This month, we are going to follow along with our bordered square instructions once again. We're going to cast on 32 stitches with color number 504 Iced Gem, follow the chart, and repeat the stitches between the red lines or the stars 3 times. And then we will repeat the chart itself 3 times before we bind off. But remember, if you need to knit a few more rows or a few less rows in order to get to your 6-inch square block, it's okay. Just remember that you need to bind off so that your squares are all about the same size. So let's go ahead and look at our chart here. We already know that we're going to cast on 32 stitches. And I'm not going to use Iced Gem, I am going to use French again, because you can choose whichever color you would like to knit your blocks in. This happened to be the color that I used for the sample, but you are welcome to use any color in your color pack. So let's go ahead and take our needles and our yarn, and let's get started by casting on 32 stitches. So this month I am using a different set of needles. I am using my Hiya Sharp interchangeables. And one of the things that I like about an interchangeable needle set is that the needle tip comes loose from the cable, which means that it's easy to store. And it's also easy with a set like this to switch tips so that you have a wider range of needles available in a smaller package. That's something that I really like. And my preference happens to be the Hiya Sharp. However, there are several good brands out there. I can also recommend the Chaogu Red, and I can also recommend Signatures, which I've used in past months. I like the Signatures. They're the Cadillac of knitting needles, as we like to say. But this month I was using those in another project, so I have gone back to my trusty Hiya Sharp interchangeables to show you what to do with our bordered square. So we're going to go ahead and look at the chart so that we know what to do for our square for the month. Our first row says to slip the first stitch. It's right here. Then we're going to knit 10, and we're going to do that 3 times, remember, because we're going to repeat those stitches between the red lines or the stars 3 times, and then we're going to end with a knit 1. And then we're going to continue to follow that chart, and we're going to make this very pretty purl stitch square. And on the back side, you'll see it looks like you have knit stitch squares. Purl stitch squares, knit stitch squares. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to knit through those first 12 rows until I have a full repeat of the square, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So now that I have completed the first 12 rows of the pattern, you can see that the squares have definitely formed. That's the back side. So we'll just go ahead and we will knit those 12 rows 2 more times before we bind off. But remember, if your square doesn't measure 6 inches, go ahead and knit until it measures 6 inches, or knit until it measures 6 inches, and you don't necessarily have to do all 3 repeats of the pattern. It's really important just to make sure that your squares are square. And now that I have done the bordered square, I'm going to go ahead and show you our second square for the month, which is that imitation lattice. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one.